Welcome back. In this demonstration we're going to make a Valentine's Day card with the craft of paper quilling. You can kind of see this card, how I've done this here, these two little hearts, and then this one looks a little different than those two. We're going to do these two things. We're going to make this kind of heart, which looks kind of like this, and then we're going to take two different swirls and combine them together to make this kind of heart. As an example of different shapes and ways to do things, I made this little demonstration page with all these different coils on it, so you can kind of see there's like a petal, a teardrop, a half moon, and by combining these things together you can get different shapes. Like here's the open heart, and if you glue those together you'll get a closed heart. Here's an S scroll, a C scroll, so you can add all sorts of different things on if you have time. What you're going to need is you're going to have a paper quilling caddy that looks something like this. It'll have these little pin tools in it that look like this. It'll have some white paper to put glue on, so you can do your gluing, and it'll have a little cup with a sponge in it. You might need to get the sponge wet. You just want it to be damp. It doesn't need to be soaking wet. You can see it's not like a big pool of water in there. I just have this sponge damp. So the things you're going to need is you're going to need a paper towel to wipe your little pin tool on, and you're going to need a piece of paper like this to put a little dribble of glue on to work with. There'll also be an orange top glue bottle in your quilling caddy, so you can have just a little dribble of glue there to work with. And then you're going to need some paper strips. The paper strips are going to be over on the side of the room in a bucket or a drawer, and they're nice and long and thin like this, and those are what you're going to use to do the quilling. Okay? To get started, you're going to have a lavender piece of paper like this. It is going to be 4.5 inches by 6 inches, so that when you fold it, it makes a fairly small card. The paper quilling is kind of a detailed, small kind of thing, so you want to have your card be on the smaller side. Before you get started, take a pencil and write your name on the back. I'm going to write Mr. Lundgren, because that's my name. Write your grade, grade 5, and then your teacher, whatever teacher you have as your homeroom teacher. Write that. Please write it nicely so that whoever's photographing this for Artsonia doesn't have trouble figuring out what your name is. Okay, then you're going to flip your paper over and we're going to start paper quilling. Here's my first thing we're going to do. We're going to do this open kind of scrolled heart like that. So you're going to get a piece of paper and it will look something like this, big long piece. Okay, and paper quilling, they make this little tool that looks like this. I can show it to you more in class, but there's a little teeny slot right there for you to slide your paper in. So if I get a little closer here and slide it in to that slot, you can kind of see how it's slid into that slot, and it makes it really easy to turn it. However, these are super expensive, so I don't have a whole class set of these. What I have is a class set of these pin tools, which works just as well. It takes a little getting used to, but it works pretty well. And what you're going to do is you're just going to get the very end of your paper damp. See how that's damp? And what will happen is then it'll stick to the metal here, and you just pinch it and then roll it between your thumb and your forefinger, and that'll start it rolling around that little pin tool, and then you can just keep rolling. Okay? If you get to the point where you need to, you can just go like this and actually just roll the paper, because it'll eventually stop sticking to the metal, and so you can kind of just roll it along like this between your fingers, and it goes pretty quick. Some kids who've tried this before say that kind of gets a little cumbersome, and they take out the little needle, and then once they get to this point they just kind of roll it in their fingers. That works too. Whatever you want to do, whatever works well with you, you can experiment a little as far as how you roll it. But that's how you roll the paper up. Now I'm going to actually just take this one and finish rolling it, and then I'll show you how to do the C scroll. Okay, so this is just rolling it all the way up. It'll look something like this when you're done. Okay, and then when you set it down, it'll uncoil itself. Alright, and that's how you make the coil. Then you need to glue it together. Okay, now in this instance, this is where little or less is more. You take just a little teeny bit of glue on your pin tool, open up this little end, and just put just a little bit right on the end. You really don't want much, because the less you have, the quicker it dries and the more even it looks. So you really just want a little bit, and then put it down like that, depending on how big you want the coil. Okay, and you hold it for a few seconds, and there you have a coil. All right, and that's how you make this closed coil like this, which can be turned into a teardrop, a petal, a marquee, a leaf shape, a half moon shape, a triangle, any of these things. Okay, so that's how that one works. Then to make the little open heart one, you take your paper. I'm going to make a pink one. You take your long strip of paper, you fold it in half, so you kind of know where the center point is. Okay, then, of course, I just got glue all over mine, so hopefully that doesn't hinder me too much. I'm going to just get a new piece so I don't have glue on there. So here we go. Fold it in half and take the center, and you're going to curl the ends towards the center. So I'm going to get a little piece wet here, so it's just ever so slightly damp. Wrap it around my metal coil. I'm going to notice that I'm wrapping it towards the center, okay, towards the V part, not towards the other part. And there we go. It's coiling now easily. And I'm going to coil mine just to, I don't know, maybe a finger or two, like an inch or so below, like that, and then take it off and let it uncoil. And while that one's uncoiling, I have to do the other side. Okay, and pinch, roll, and then just start rolling it like we did before. And that will make you the open heart V scroll. Alright, and depending on how tight you do the curls or how much you let them out, you can make different sized hearts. Okay, so there's two kind of different versions. Then to glue those down, you simply take some of your glue on your pin tool, oops, and wipe it on the back of those rolls. Okay, and one thing you want to make sure is that you get enough glue on there that it'll hold down, but not so much that it starts dribbling all over the place. And that's why you're using the pin tool, because it's kind of hard to be that detailed. If you can put a little bit on the actual V part, and that'll help hold it down as well. But again, don't like glob glue on top of there. And when you're done with your pin tool, I always like to wipe it off so that the glue doesn't dry and get crusty. That makes it hard to roll the paper afterwards. So I'm going to put this one right here. And with this, you could leave the curls close together, or like on this example here, I actually glued the two curls together so it's like more solid. So I'm going to glue these two together. All you do is you take a little bit of glue, you put it in between the two swirls, and then you just hold those together. And I'm going to take that and put the glue on the back. To hold those together. And this is kind of detailed, careful work. You have to be thoughtful about how you put it together. Okay, so there's my other one, and after it's on a little bit, you can ever so slightly just adjust it or pinch it, and you might have to hold it down so that if your card or the paper of the card is kind of bulging up, you don't want that to happen. Then for the other heart, this one here, you need two circles. I'm going to do these two circles because I already have them prepared. You can use two pink pieces, two red pieces. You could use a red and a pink. You could use a white and a pink, whatever you want, whatever you think looks best. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take these two curls, and you could do them separately by pinching them into like a teardrop shape. I think it works just a little better. I feel like for me, I can get the shape a little bit more true if I take one edge and glue that together, and then I take both edges and pinch them down like this into a heart shape. And you're going to have to fight with this depending on how you want it to look. Okay, and I want to get this big curl in there and pinch it so that when it comes out it looks something like that, so they're both insides are both kind of twisting the same way. See how that looks? Okay, and then I've got the center glued together. So you can make, I'd say, at least 3 hearts. If you want to make more, you can. And if you have more time, I can show you how to do some other cool things in class. But I want to keep this simple because we only have an hour to do it. My goal is for you to get this done today, to learn these 2 skills, the open heart scroll and the, I guess we'll call these teardrop, like glued together teardrop shapes to make the two-sided heart. So these are the 3 or 4 pieces rather that you have to put together for your card today. Now I designed this one to open, you know, right to left just like a normal card, and this one I designed to open bottom to top. You can choose which way you want it. I don't care, your artistic choice, but the skills that I want you to do is the open scrolled heart. You can either have it open or you can glue them together, and then the double teardrop heart here. Notice I've got this one bigger and these more equal. It all depends on what you want. So those are the skills that you'll show me today. Make sure, double sure that you've got your name on the back. When you get done, bring it up to me, check your name off on the list, so I make sure that I have everyone checked off. When you're done with that and it's cleanup time, make sure that your needle tools go back into the bucket with the needles down so nobody gets poked, and that you've got your glue bottle in. It's an orange top one, so make sure it's screwed closed. Then you should have your sponge in there as well and the top closed. Okay, and that concludes how to do a quilling card for Valentine's Day.